Ladies and gentlemen, hello, and it's David again on a Saturday. Now, this is the money making Saturday that we're coming on, and mostly it is to help you make more money in your everyday life through real estate. Why is it that 90% of all millionaires are making their money through real estate? It is because real estate is the most tax favored asset class that there is on earth. Now, we didn't set it up that way. It is the governments that set it up that way. And you can benefit from the same law. So, all these people that always say that it is not fair that they make all this money and don't have to pay any tax, the amazing thing is it's available to you. It's available to me. We just weren't taught it in school. We weren't taught it in university. We didn't learn about all these things in all these different places. So, that is what we're going to be talking about today, how you can take advantage of it. Now, we're hearing in the US that there are going to be pardoning all of these different university loans that they had to take it. A lot of people shouldn't have taken those loans. Of course, university is amazing. If you're going to be a doctor, if you're going to be a vet, if you're going to be an engineer, we need these people. So university is amazing. But who is taking out a loan for $100,000 to take a social science course and never get a job from it? I mean, insanity. If it was so amazing, banks would lend against that, right? Banks won't. So it has to go to the national level. If you're going to say that you're going to go become a doctor, the banks will lend you money, right? But they won't do it if you're going to take something else. So you and I have to do this same research and figure out if it's going to be worth it. We have to do this ROI study, our return on investment. Does it make sense to take that type of course? So when we look into all this other stuff, right, that same ROI that we're looking for, return on investment, that's all that we care about. We're looking at that through the scope of real estate. And real estate has something beautiful in it because we now can make somebody else pay for the loan. Let's take an example here that you are going to go and get a loan on stocks, let's say. Can you go and buy stocks and have somebody else pay the loan off for you? Could you go buy a car and ask somebody else to pay off the loan for you? No. But if you go take a mortgage out on a home, you can now get somebody else to pay that loan for you. Where else can you possibly get that? And so all these people that end up opening us up some kind of e-commerce store, or they're renting out their car on Turo or whatever it is, you're going to make some money in your business and you're going to end up in real estate. You always do. You always end up in real estate. Now, where in real estate do you end up? It always follows the same pattern. You're going to start off in residential, probably just a single family home. Then you're going to move into a duplex and a fourplex, a 12plex, a 24plex. When we go talk to somebody who's selling a 12 unit building, their answer is always the same. Why are you selling this 12 unit? I'm moving to a bigger unit. Why would these guys always be moving to bigger units? Because of the economies of scale. You make more money in that if you can manage it properly. In addition, if you have cash flow getting thrown off that building, you don't want to pay tax on it. This beautiful thing called depreciation. We've talked about this many times. We've done a lot of videos on it. It is amazing to be able to have that depreciation. So you got to learn that. And so as long as I've been in this business, which is many, many moons, we can go back and see that all these people that make money, no matter what business it is, they end up buying real estate and they end up going into real estate because of depreciation. And you have these wonderful write-offs that can get it so you don't pay any taxes anymore. You don't have to pay taxes legally. Why on earth would you ever cheat on your taxes if you can get away with it legally? That's what's crazy. So go get a book like this. Tom Wheelwright, he wrote a book, The 7 Ways the Government Will Pay You to be able to in order to invest. The government will pay you to be able to do that, which is crazy. I think it's crazy. Don't you think it's crazy? Listen, you guys, if you have any questions tonight, we're on live, so feel free to put your comments below on YouTube, put them down on TikTok, and we'll get to them if you want. So we have to take advantage of these things for ourselves so that we could break free as well, right? That is the main key, is escaping the matrix. And when you go buy something like a stock or you go buy like a car, you got one loan, terms are set. When you go and buy a home, you get to renegotiate those terms all the time. You could even break it sometimes and make a new one if it makes sense for you. We can have creative financing or seller financing or lease options or a better credit score or fix it or adjust it, whatever you want, many times in the life of it. Our goal, because the government is on a program of massive money printing forever, QE infinity, because of that, we're going to be banking on that, right? We're going to have negative yielding rates, which we've done videos on before. Negative yielding rates is where you get paid to borrow. So we want to kick the can of the debt as far down the road as we can, as we are keep on maxing out how much we can refinance over the years. That is what you want to do. Always be refinancing. We hope to never pay off our properties. I hope when I die, I still have 80% debt on those properties. And if you have them in your own name, it has to be sold when you die. But if you have it inside of a company, beautiful thing, companies live forever. Wish I could. But companies live forever and you can pass on your companies. So once the house gets into the company, you don't have to pay tax on it forever if you do it the right way. That's why I think you should have tax advisors, tax accountants, financial advisors. Remember, I am not a tax advisor. I'm a real estate broker. I could just tell you what I do in my own personal life, but I operate in the Greater Toronto area, but we consult and advise people all over North America. So if you're interested in that, you could always reach out to us. We're happy to help you. So make sure that you're in on that. The reason why you want to know about real estate is if I took a book, let's just say this book, the tax code will only have one page for how much taxes should be paid for workers. And all the other pages would, in essence, be write-offs that you can take. So go to the Canadian Revenue Agency, go to the American Tax Code, and read all the pages if you want. If you want a cheat code to that, though, because that could be overwhelming reading thousands of pages, just go hire a tax strategist. You can go sit down with them. This is their entire life to how to let you pay less taxes, maybe even zero taxes. And you can do that too. So go hire somebody like that, hire an expert, and it will cut down your learning time. Instead of having to read for the next 6 months, you're going to be able to do it in an hour or two. So that is my biggest advice to everybody, is to be able to get into that. In the meantime, you need to be getting into stuff like this. This is a block of silver from the Royal Canadian Mint. It's 100 ounces. You need to be buying some silver in your portfolio. Of course, you should be buying some gold too, but the silver is the cheap stuff right now. It is so cheap. It's unbelievable. So I would be buying silver right now if it was for anything else. That's what I would be doing. Anyway, so we'll open it up. If you guys have any questions, I also have my handy iPad here, and we could throw it up on the screen if you want me to break down anything. Of course, you should always be buying some Bitcoin, Ethereum, some little bits, also be packing in some gold and some silver. We always say that you should be buying a little bit of each. And we have our gold and silver course. We just finished filming it, and it should be ready within another week or two or so. It's just in post-production right now. So if you guys have any questions on TikTok, if you have any questions on YouTube, either one, you can put it below and I'll get to it as soon as I can. Please give me your comments. I'm here for you. I'm not here for me. So let me know if you have any comments. I'd love to help you out. A couple of the articles that I was looking at earlier this week, if we look into the articles, there was one that was quite shocking to me, that the risk of civil unrest is surging in more than half the world's countries. So if you are going to look at that as a whole, a lot of the countries are in deep trouble. So why are they in trouble? And it's always going to come back to what is a human requirement. We need to have food and we need to have power, some type of energy, some type of electricity. If we don't have the electricity and food, there's going to be riots in the streets. And we are heading toward massive insecurity because of that. We haven't seen anything yet. This winter is going to be really bad in Europe. They're going to be freezing in Europe. They have no energy there. In addition, we're going to have a lot of food crises kicked off. So what does that mean? A lot of your favorite products might not be available. Your food products might not be available at all. then you're going to have to go to another standard. That's one thing, but also the prices, expect the prices to be surging higher. As we get all of this information in September and October about nothing being grown in the Northern Hemisphere, we are in some serious trouble. The majority of the world's food is made in the Northern Hemisphere, and we have not been growing it for a multitude of reasons. Rivers that have dried out, fertilizer bans all over the place, and people not being able to grow. So some real serious trouble heading into. Romeo, thanks for asking a question over on TikTok. You heard China sent Russian gas to Europe. Yes, that is very, very correct. So this is the hypocrisy of what is happening these days. Let's talk about that. Let me just flip my screen here, buddy. So this is part of the hypocrisy of that, what we are seeing in the world today. So Europe and North America want to be very righteous, right? And say it's wrong. The war in Ukraine, not saying that of course it's wrong, but they said we are not buying any gas from Russia. Bango. Okay. So they were expecting we will cripple them financially. They're finished. Okay. So Russia right today is pumping just as much gas as they were before. Europe is burning just as much gas as they were before. Nothing really has changed. But all the gas, instead of going from Russia over to Europe, it's bypassing to China. China's putting it on boats and sending it back to Europe. And now they're paying 500% more than they were before the war. So who is suffering here? Russia's making the same amount of money. Now China is making way more money, and they're bankrupting Europe and North America and everywhere else. So at the end of the day, the actions that they have done against Russia is backfiring massively. Russia is making more money than they ever have. China is making more money than they ever have. And who are they punishing? Their own sanctions are punishing North America. They're punishing the West. So you tell me, it's not very hard to figure out that would happen. So it's just blowback when you do things that look good on paper, but it's going to hurt you at the end of the day. It's kind of a stupid thing to do, right? You have to do something that's right. Listen, I'm not a politician. I'm not a geopolitical strategist. I don't know, but I can tell you that's a bad way, but I don't know the best way. I don't know. I also don't think that we should be, sending bombs over and killing. Like every time that there is a war, people lose. People lose everywhere. That's just how it goes. There's never a winner. There's going to be hundreds of thousands of dead people everywhere. The Ukrainian culture and population is finished. They will never recover from this. It is over for Ukraine. Like, that is terrible. I have family, both sides of my family have roots in Ukraine. And so, it's awful. It's terrible. But what do you do? We cannot, you and I don't have the muscle to be able to go and change Ukraine and Russia. But what do? We are sitting here. We're sitting here dead in the water and just rampant inflation going to the moon. So what are you going to do? Could you go change and make the gas price cheaper? Can you make food prices cheaper? No, you can't. The only thing that you can do is maybe donate money to a cause if you can. And you can go and educate yourself by reading books like this from Peter Zian. If you can go read books like this from Peter Zian, then you can get moving. You can learn, improve your skills, and out-earn inflation. That's the only way that you're going to do it, is if you out-earn inflation, which means you have to have more skills than everybody else. That's the only way it's going to happen. Mark, how are you, buddy? Whatever decision done by Europe and USA actually serves Russia. Yeah. Everything that they're doing is helping Russia in their case. Isn't that unbelievable? Gold price banned from Russia. That's wrong. You should take all Russian gold. I mean, it doesn't really affect it very, very much, to be honest with you. They can ban Russian gold. There's no way that you can tell if gold is gold. Sure, if you have a gold bar like this that says Canada on it, I know that this gold bar is from Canada. Okay, great. Do you know how easy this is to melt down? I can melt this down in my garage and have no stamp on it. And as soon as there's no stamp on it, guess what? I don't know it's Russian gold. So this is the difference, man. If you make it look very fancy pants, Give me a break. Unbelievable to me. The weight of gold is very, very heavy. But you know what? Depending on what type of bills you have, this amount of cash could be a lot heavier than this much gold. So when Russia first got put under sanctions, they were paying their bills with actual gold, sending planes of gold. So I think that's stupid. I think it's stupid to ban that. You're right, Mark. Oh, Mac. Sorry, buddy. Mac. Anyway, thanks for the questions anyway. So the world is going bananas, but listen, the answer here is you have to out earn real estate. Out earn inflation. And how you're going to do that is learning about financial literacy, learning how to get and participate in real estate. That's where you're going to win. I'm from Toronto. I'm a broker that works in the greater Toronto area, but we consult people all over North America because the rules that we learn about real estate is just as applicable out in Europe as it is down in South America. Doesn't matter if it's Australia. It's all the same. We're talking to somebody today from Winnipeg. Unbelievable being in Winnipeg. Can you believe that? Crazy. So you let me know if there's something that you want to know about, and I'd be happy to answer your questions like always. All right, so let's get back to this article that I was looking at before. The article that we were looking at was the risk of civil unrest that is happening. Unbelievably, the countries are talking about over 100 of the 200 countries that it actually follows, which is crazy. How can half the countries be teetering on trouble, right? And it says the key, it's cited the problems are coming from inflation, government induced, energy and food crisis. Government induced. So you're telling me all three things that we are leading toward 100 countries going into civil unrest is all government induced. That's bad, man. That's bad. We're going into a really, really weird time. Now, home prices have been skyrocketing all over for the couple of years. Now, they are correcting right now. But remember, the prices aren't really that bad. The prices today are where they were last August. So we've had a 14-year bull run, and now we've retraced one of those years. It's still very, very high. So Canada, to fund a rent-to-own program under $2 billion in housing for Canada. So this is 17,000 new homes, which the government plans to strap every taxpayer in Canada for like about $14,000. So now you and me, people who are actually working, have to kick in another $14,000 just to help out people get their $17,000 of 17,000 homes. This has already happened in Toronto, where now if they have a building and they have this building, they'll reserve the bottom floors for low income. So all the units above in that building have to kick in another $40,000 per person per unit to pay for the lower units for a low income person to be able to move in. 40 grand. Just think about that, man. Like, we're just out there trying to work and get by, right? And they're like 40,000 more to pay for those, and then slapping on another $17,000 or whatever to pay for the 17,000 homes. These are huge digits. So anybody who's working, man, you got to pay attention to this stuff. Chris, Greg, thanks for your comment, but I just don't know what you mean. Can you let me know what that means? So if we look again at this article, let me see. I'll go back to the article in a second there. So, Chris, you said not that bad. Oh, you mean? I'd like to know what you mean. Mac, do you believe that BTC is the way to hide and launder the printed USD? Okay. We've kind of bitten off a lot that we can chew, Mac, here. So I am a big fan of Bitcoin, okay? I love Bitcoin. I love Ethereum. I have been mining Bitcoin since 2013. I've been in it a long time. I really understand what it is, and I like it. But I am buying it with the intent to only look at the value when I'm 60. I don't buy and sell, buy and sell. You want to ask me how to buy? I know how to buy. You want to ask me how to sell? I have no damn idea. I've never done it, and I have no intention to. So you get on your app or whatever it is, and you just set it on a reminder and let it just do its thing. I don't care, maybe 20 bucks a month, whatever you want to put into it. You just put into it, because I know when I'm going to retire, it's going to be worth something. Now, you're saying the way to hide and launder printed USD. I have no intentions of ever hiding or laundering any money. That's very illegal. You can get in a lot of trouble with that. But the US dollar, you're saying the printed US dollar is devaluing massively. It's dropping in value all the time. So we have to be very worried about that. So I think there's two types of countries out there that how they're going to treat Bitcoin. There are two types of countries in the way they tax. Majority of countries tax based on income. So if you make $100,000, they're going to let you keep 70 or 65. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to take their chunk because you made that money. Second type of country is where they only tax on consumption. Way better system. So if you go to Cayman Islands, for example, that country has zero income tax. You make 100,000, you keep 100,000. The difference is when you go buy something at the store in Canada, we are taxed 13% on top of anything we buy. The government just takes that money. Down in Cayman Islands, they take 25% of all your money. Anything you buy $100 worth of something, they charge you 125. But imagine that we're going to live in a country that has no accountants, no bookkeepers, like they're all gonzo. There's no income tax whatsoever. Imagine not having the Canadian Revenue Agency or the IRS coming in and breaking down your door with guns now to get your tax money, because it's a much simpler system. So here is the thing. In all countries that tax you based on income tax, I fully expect them to ban all Bitcoin and Ethereum transactions, or they want to watch everything and tax you on it. But in the countries that tax you based on usage, not on income, like Cayman Island, for example, they will probably welcome Bitcoin and Ethereum. They won't mind at all. So we need to be investing in multiple things. Mr. Incognito, how are you, sir? Thank you very much for coming on. Appreciate it. You can't afford your mortgage payments. When is the interest rates going to go down? Listen, everybody, this is the multi-trillion-dollar question. And if you've paid attention to the Jackson Hole meeting, he was very, very clear. He actually said that in the beginning. I'm going to be very clear and precise. The rates will be held higher, longer. And that's what he said. He also said in the speech something very curious, that they cannot affect supply of stuff, but they can affect demand. They are here to destroy demand, and they are going to want to have something for free. So how do they get something for free? They're going to say, what? When you were a kid, you did something bad. Your dad said, you wait till we get home, right? And he just said something. Now, he hasn't smacked you or nothing, but now all of a sudden you were behaving. So they're going to give you a lot of tough talk in hopes that you will just behave and not buy anything anymore. They're going to talk a good game. So I believe that that is happening now, and it's working. But the longer they hold on to it, the more the foreclosures are going to be happening on homes. The more the companies will be laying off people and going under. And if that noise gets so loud and the damage to the economy is becoming apparent, I really believe that they will have to pivot backwards. That's what I think. Now, when would that be? My most likely target, with the information that we have today, would probably be like next spring, something like that. That's when I'm estimating them to start to pause on rates at the latest. We have a really bad fall that's going to be happening and a really bad winter. So during those seasons, we're expecting some real bad financial education. So be careful. Mr. Incognito, this is terrible news. You said, I'm going to go broke by January if it doesn't go down. My heart goes out to you, sir. This is absolutely terrible. I've seen a lot of people saying this stuff. It is terrible. I do not expect the rates to go down by then. I don't. It really depends what type of home that you're in. If you are in a smaller condo, let's say in Toronto, Mr. Incognito, are you in Toronto? Can you let me know what city you live in? So If you are in a small condo and you're in Toronto, like say downtown, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 2 bed, 2 bath, you keep it. It's going to be okay. It'll probably not go down. But if you're in a semi-detached or detached home in Toronto, it's probably going to go down a lot more. Oh yeah, Kingston. We've looked into Kingston a lot of times. So in Kingston, we expect properties to go down as well. If you're in a detached house, it will go down as well. So you have to try to be in the entry level units, whether it's like an apartment, a four unit apartment, or you're in a building or something small condo. Even if you rented for a while, that would be okay as well. We're seeing prices going like this. They're going straight south and they're going to lose money over and over, and they're just losing every month. And the prices that have gone down so far have only gone down because buyers cannot get new loans. That's it. Nothing has happened yet for people losing their homes. Nothing. So when that all starts happening, we're going to see more and more and more and more people that are going to be going into foreclosure and losing it. So all these people that say, oh, the fall is going to be amazing, prices are going up, they're realtors trying to sell you something. I'm the only realtor that's telling you I wouldn't do it. I would stay away from it. I wouldn't be buying anything right now. Um, Mac, average apartment price in Dubai. Apartment is 80 square meters, is 200K. You feel more safe investing there. Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's a better system. But remember, what we're going into right now is a world financial crisis. It isn't individual areas like an organic recession like we normally had every 5 to 7 years. This is a deliberately created recession, completely different, and it's going to affect the entire world. Imagine 2008 times 4x. Romeo, you heard mostly higher end homes are going down. Did you hear that from me, by the way? I've been saying that a lot. Now, remember, everybody wants an easy answer. There is no easy answer. Toronto is called by what I call it the city of 99 neighborhoods. There's so many different neighborhoods. They all behave differently. Condos are different than townhouses, different than semi detached and detached. They're all different mini micro units, right? Small commercial versus large commercial. It's all different. So you really need to have a market expert in that one demographic. But I can tell you that the higher the price, the larger the fall. And what is going to be the thing that will insulate you the most is those little units, the entry level condos and entry level homes. That's where you're going to make the most money. Or literally, not even just make money, the ones that will protect you from losing money. Mr. Incognito, is it safer to buy land? No, it is not. I would not be buying land at all. The majority of places, you have to buy land in cash. And then once you build a house on it, then and it's all done, they will come in and assess the whole thing. Now, there's a lot of different rules around this. You're going to have to talk to your individual bank. But as a general rule, you got to own the land cash. So if you want to have land, buy land with a house on it and mortgage the whole thing. I wouldn't buy land. I wouldn't do it. Very cool, but good questions, you guys. Good questions. Hopefully that I'm giving you some advice. Did I help you at all? If I give you any advice, can you just give me a like here and maybe follow me? I'd appreciate it. All right, we're going to go over today, and so Canada wants to buy this $2 billion in real estate, which I think is absolutely crazy for them to be doing this. And this is all rent to own, which is a joke on its own. It's just going to rip us off even further and put us farther into even more inflation, which is very, very sad. Mr. Incognito, you said you feel like investment opportunities in Canada is too expensive and America has cheaper options. Do you know why America has cheaper options? Generally speaking, it's because of their climate. Because a lot of their country, they could just put a pad of cement down and build the house on top, and they just run the plumbing right through the roof. The whole southern part of the United States is that way. In Canada, we have the frost line. We have to dig down really, really deep in the ground, build basements, double pane windows, a lot of insulation in the walls, peaked roof for all the snow. We have a lot of things that cost a lot more in Canada, so we can't compare the two directly. But there are a lot of properties in Canada that are really good deals still, even now. We buy them, but we don't always buy them just all downtown Toronto where I operate. We look in other provinces as well. You should have a diversified basket of stocks. You should also have a diversified basket of homes, different types of property. Um, Victoria, what do you do when you have no money like ever? Well, Victoria, you have to start somewhere. I have to be honest with you. It's really, really tough. Myself, I started off working and I was working 100 hours a week. I got really, really sick. I ended up on welfare. I could not afford gas in my car. I could not afford food. I couldn't afford anything. I was broke. I was living in this tiny hole. It was one of the worst experiences of my life, but I pulled myself out of this thing. I started coming out of it. And I started just one thing at a time, trying to improve myself 1% per week. I did that. And I would make some money and I would go buy one silver coin and put it away. And then I would keep working and I would go and read new books every single week and keep on improving myself. Soon, instead of buying a coin back then for $15, I was able to go and buy 1 ounce of gold and stack that. And I slowly started learning. And that's why I say financial education is the key to everything. I love it. So that's why I love financial education. It took a guy like me out of zero, out of welfare, and propelled me into what I am today. Mr. Incognito, you said Winnipeg is cheap. I've looked at Winnipeg before. It is not a place that I would be investing right now. Thoughts on affordable housing? Affordable housing doesn't work. This is the problem with affordable housing. And if you've actually looked into it, you would actually have to do a little bit more research. So I was in a couple areas of Toronto, of Canada, that needed houses to be built. And the government was paying for them to be built. Let me tell you the difference. Back in 1940 or so, 50s, 60s, back then, the individual government agent would go talk to the one person to do the job. What has happened now is now the government agent has hired so many subcontractors down the road before the job gets done that building a house costs a lot of money. So I was in a part of Canada where they were building low cost housing, and the house typically would cost around $200,000. But by the time that the government built it, they would build it for 1.2 million. It would cost them that much more because of the bureaucracy and how many subcontractors they had. The government is way better incentivized to give a little bit of a tax credit to individual private people to go and build the properties and provide housing. The government will save $1 million per house just to give a little bit of a tax credit. So for them, it's way more efficient to let the private market do it. And that's what we do. We provide housing for people. We will always be building and always be providing housing. Affordable housing does not work. Um, Mr. Incognito, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Yeah, it has been a success story, and it's all because of what my dad did for me, and it's my wife, what she's done for me, and working together nonstop. But you know what? It's not an easy road. We work 60, 70, 80, 90-hour weeks for 10 years. So that's really tough, right? So can everybody do that? It just doesn't happen, right? You end up working and working and working your whole life. And then once you make it, everyone's like, well, you were so lucky. I'm like, well, you didn't see 10 years of 90-hour weeks, right? It's really tough. But if you want it, you can do it. Um, Victoria, can you tell me? You said, yeah, I guess I've been doing that without really thinking about it. I'm wondering what you mean by that. I'd like to know. Romeo, I just did a video yesterday on YouTube about Trudeau and his rent to own program. Rent to own programs are really bad. They do not work. They've never worked. Remember, you have to put somewhere between 1% and 5% down. So on the home, you may have to come up with $40,000 to give to the government right away. Then your rent goes from maybe $2,000 up to $2,400. You have to pay a much higher rent because the government says, well, we'll give you that $400 credit if you qualify for the loan when you're done. In addition, now you have to also pay for all the repairs while you have the house as well. So now instead of just paying $2,000 rent, I also have to come up with $40,000, $2,400 a month, and pay all of my other stuff, the maintenance and taxes and all that on the property, and you're not going to be able to pay for it. So you really, who it's for is people who have bad credit scores, and I feel it's very unjust. It's taking advantage of people. I don't do that. I would never do that. I don't like it. Mr. Incognito, how about Saskatoon? Listen, right now, the only places that I would be investing is either in New Brunswick or Alberta. I wouldn't be investing in Manitoba right now. Victoria, because I don't make money off of it. I don't know what you mean. Sorry about what I don't make money off of, Victoria. I don't make money off of a lot of things. I don't make money off of I come on live every single night for an hour just to try to help people. I don't make money off of that. Mr. Incognito, where in Alberta? So you got to be looking in anywhere in Alberta. I don't really mind, actually. In Alberta, we call them B class cities and C class. So Calgary and Edmonton, I would be going Calgary. And then the other cities, then you should be looking at Red Deer, Lethbridge, and Medicine Hat. We buy in Alberta all the time. We love Alberta. Alberta is amazing. You only invest in places that actually love landlords. So Alberta, remember, if you want to go to Quebec in Canada, if you go to Quebec, you can live in the unit for 2 years without getting any payment. So the tenant can move into your damn house. He can decide not to pay you, even if he has a job. I'm not going to pay you for 2 damn years. Now, all the people in Quebec come to say, David, the paperwork says they can live there only 60 days without payment. Yeah, but then you have to put in your stuff to the landlord and tenant board, and they're behind by years on their paperwork. So by the time a sheriff comes and knocks on the door and gets them to leave, he's lived there for 2 years with no payment. Guess what? United States, New York, you can live in that unit for 3 years with no payment. How is that fair? But if you go to a place like Alberta, you got 2 weeks to get evicted if you haven't paid your rent. Also, if you're down in Florida or Texas, you're there for a couple of weeks and you got to go if you don't pay. Now, a lot of people give me a lot of blowback because they say, David, it's so insensitive that you don't let people live in your place for free. I'm like, I don't understand. If I go to a restaurant and I don't pay my bill, I'm evicted. If I go to a hotel and I don't pay my bill, I got to go. If I go to an Airbnb, I don't pay my bill, I got to go. But for some reason, if you go to a house that somebody has put up for rent on Kijiji, now you can live there for 3 years with non-payment. I don't understand that. It doesn't make sense to me. So only invest where you are treated best. You need to protect your income. Mr. Incognito, you said you're moving to Alberta. Nice. Nice, man. Listen, I'm not going to live in Alberta. I'm never going to live there. I'm going to live where it's fun, and I'm going to invest where it's safe. That's it. This is the story that I always tell everybody. You got one family member who wants to live every single day like an asteroid is coming to Earth, burn every dollar you can to live the best life you can. And so he is over here, okay? This party animal, woo, partying. The next guy on the other side, he's super safe. He has never even bought a coffee at Starbucks in his life. He pays off all of his properties. Stinking nut bar, okay? Like he's super strict. So if you wanted to go out for the night and party, who would you go have a party with? You go party with that guy who thinks the world is ending tomorrow, right? That's the guy you want to party with. At the same time, if you want to invest your money, you want to go with that guy who's super strict, who has all those properties, right? This is how you live your life. You live where it's fun with the party animal. The provinces or states are just spending money like crazy to have fun. Great, live there. But if you want to go and invest somewhere else, you got to invest in the places that are safe. Same as in the United States, there's a lot of stuff that's happening in New York. A lot of stuff is happening in LA, San Francisco, fun towns, amazing places to be. But there's not a good place to invest. So you got to invest in other places, maybe down in the Florida Panhandle, maybe in Tennessee, where it makes sense to invest, and then take the rent and live anywhere you want. Mr. Incognito, you said, thanks for the advice. You learned a lot. Hope so, buddy. I got some courses that will be coming out in the next couple months. We've been filming them for months. It just takes a lot of time in post-op. So hope everything will work out good. Maybe we'll see you there. Any other questions, you guys? This is going to be kind of like our last call. It's 9 o'clock on a Saturday night, and I am tired. Had a long day. So I like to come on here. We're on YouTube and TikTok. You guys on TikTok, if you like this stuff, can you please follow me on YouTube? Same name, Ruff Team Realty. Just go look at me on YouTube. I really appreciate it if you can. I try to come on all the time, and just to try to help people out. If you guys are in Toronto, we do the real estate for you. If you're not in Toronto, we cannot operate in real estate, but we do counseling and advice for people all over North America and Europe. So I do think you guys should be buying some gold and silver in your portfolios as always. Then you need to be buying some Ethereum. I don't have my Bitcoin in front of me. It's somewhere here. But even in silver, this is probably the best deal that you're going to get right now. This is 100 ounces of silver. It's really cool. It's like 7 pounds, pretty thick, right? I think everybody should have that. Bought my first one in 2010 and been loading it up. All right. Well, is there anything that you guys are questioning before I run? So real estate is the world's most tax favored asset class in history. It's amazing. So no matter what company you're in, it doesn't really matter. I've talked to doctors and professionals, like engineers. I've had other people that had e-commerce stores, or they had a grocery business or something else. It always comes down to the same thing: that what do I do with all the money I made? Or they're very angry about, David, I had to pay 60% taxes. I'm furious about it. So what are you supposed to do, right? And that's where you're going to end up going and talking to a tax strategist. After you talk to a tax strategist or accountant, you're going to end up buying real estate. Mr. Incognito, is this the book that you were talking about? The End of the World is Just the Beginning. Peter Zian, amazing book. One of the best books of the year for sure. The other white book that I had showed you before, Mr. Incognito, did you get that? Take a screenshot of it. This is the Win-Win Wealth Strategy by Tom Wheelwright. I don't suggest this book. This book is for very advanced people. This isn't it. If you go, though, the same guy, Tom Wheelwright, look him up for a book that's called Tax-Free Wealth. Much better book than this one. This is for advanced people, so I wouldn't be dealing with this one if I were you. Did that answer your question, Mr. Incognito? I hope so. Romeo, have I ever sold a Habitat for Humanity home? Nope. I have no idea what that is either. Sorry, man. Am I I feel like I'm stupid because I don't know what that means, but yeah, I don't know what that is. Habitat for Humanity home. Never heard of it. Let me know if you know what it is, but I'm curious. Is this one of those things I'm going to look up online and I'm going to be sorry I ever did? I'll look it up. I know what Habitat for Humanity is, but I'll look it up. So yeah, we deal in Ontario. I don't know if they have them there, but I'll take a look. Um, any questions, you guys, on money mechanics or anything on Bitcoin and Ethereum? Any questions on gold and silver? Stockpiling them. You should have always 1 to 5% in crypto, 10 to 15% in gold and silver. And then you need to have an emergency fund, a contingency fund, and the rest of it wrapped up in real estate. Cash flowing, principal pay down, large real estate. All of the real estate's always different. Everyone always says, oh, just real estate. It's not any real estate. Out of 100 deals that I look at, I'll find one that is any good. But you can always find good deals. It doesn't really matter what market you're in. Everyone is so excited right now because the stock market is down, prices are down, but then every newbie who goes out there and finally goes and talks to a real estate agent and a broker, a mortgage broker, is shocked and appalled. They're like, I thought prices were down 30%. Yeah, but your monthly payment is higher. Higher. The interest rate has gone so high that your mortgage rate today, the price that you will pay is higher than it was in February when home prices were 30-40% more money. So whenever someone comes and talks to us and they want to say, David, I'm interested in going and looking at a property, I'm like, have you talked to a mortgage agent yet? No? I think you should. You got to talk to the mortgage agent before you talk to me, man, because they're going to have this entire like out of body experience when they find out how expensive it is for those rates. Yeah, the rates are brutal. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, I don't remember now. Somebody on here tonight was saying that they're going to run out of money by January. I think he was in Kingston. Is that right? I don't remember if that was you, Romeo, but absolutely terrible. And this is going to happen to not just 1, 2, 3 people. We're talking about hundreds of thousands. We're now going into September, October, where we have 50,000, 80,000, a couple 100,000 people per month will be hitting their trigger rates. And when they hit their trigger rates, the rates will go to the moon and could go into foreclosure. Really, really rough. Avman, you've scared my wife away from selling a luxury home in Woodbridge. I don't know. Sorry if I swayed her the wrong way, buddy. Not meaning to sway her anybody one way or another. If you had a luxury home in Woodbridge, I actually would be selling it. I wouldn't be keeping it. Those are the properties that will be losing a big amount of money, way more than. So let's just take an example. Let's take an example. So if I had a property, a luxury property in Woodbridge at $4 million, $5 million, I would much rather have 8 or 9 one-bedroom condos downtown, right next to the subway station. That $5 million will not lose very much. Whereas the $5 million in one property in Woodbridge could drop easily 50, 60%. So that's why. Buddy. Yeah, sorry, dude. I don't want to make anybody do anything they don't want to do. I'm just giving my opinion what's happening, but I literally live and breathe this. I get up in the morning at 7:00 and I start reading all economics reports and World Economic Forum and every other forum that I can think of that's out there, International Monetary Fund and repo markets. And I'm reading about this all night. So this is not an accidental thing. This world crushing market that's going to be happening is going to be happening around the world everywhere. It's probably the most coordinated attack I've ever seen on the economy. Crazy. So if I had a luxury property in Woodbridge, I would be thinking of selling it now. But of course, you got to look at your entire situation, how much equity you have in it, what your rates, what type of mortgage that you have locked up in it, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot to consider, right? So you got to read all, like go through your entire position in order to figure out what's going to be best for you. But if you're going to hold on to a property in Woodbridge, let's say it's a luxury property, I don't know anything about it. If I did have a luxury property and I was insistent, like, this is where my kids grew up, I have a lot of feelings here and I'm going to keep it. Well, I would be building units in the basement, renting out the garage, putting a tiny house in the back, Airbnb, whatever, Airstreams in the back, glamping tent, I would be doing all kinds of things. Can you put crypto miners somewhere? Can you put solar panels outside? Like, get as many streams of income coming into your property as you can. Avman, if you want, I did a video on YouTube last week called Revenue Streams. You can go look at it, where we were projecting it up on the TV, and I was going through it, where we can get 20 streams of revenue all through one property. So if you were going to keep a property in Woodbridge, a luxury property, I wouldn't be suggesting it, but oh, you did watch it. Fucking awesome, dude. And you subscribed. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. What did you think, Avman? Do you think I'm crazy? Wade Wamsley, the man, the myth, the legend. How are you, buddy? Hope you're in Montreal. Avman, did you like it? Did you like what I was talking about? So if you keep your property in Woodbridge, deck it out, man. Get as many revenue streams coming in there as you can. Yeah, good. You get the concept. Nice. Do whatever you can to be making more streams of income to get you through this, because we're expecting. Listen, housing prices have already had a massive heart attack. They've gone way down. So if it has gone way down on properties in different areas, just keep your eyes open to what's happening in your area. If you want, Avman, you're in my region. If you wanted to find out what the other properties in your area are sold, we could set you up on an automatic system that when another person lists their property, it'll just send you an email just letting you know what it is. That way you don't have to be looking every day. So you can just set up like your neighborhood or something like that, and the price range or the size range, and just to get an alert when it goes on. It's absolutely free. If you want to contact us, just reach out to me here. We can set up to you within a day. Yeah, you were. I do remember you getting the rental property in Nissville. Yeah, I remember now. Sorry, man. I got so many guys coming on here all the time. I get all discombobulated. And listen, on YouTube, if you guys want to put any questions in as well, I'm happy to answer them as well. I'm just answering some on TikTok, but you can put them below. Yep. So just please, this is the most coordinated attack we've ever had on the economy. So make sure that when you're going through housing, you're going to be paying attention to what is happening. The world wants to smush you like a cockroach, okay? And finish you. I always think of Tony Montana, you cockroach, or Mr. Wonderful saying you're going to get squashed. I don't want that to happen to you. I'm trying to get the word out there to people and let them know, don't get smooshed. This is going to happen. So just try to protect yourself. Protect yourself, man. That's it. Anyway, so we're going to continue to this same motion. I'm still filming courses at the same time as I'm trying to come live every day. I just really want to get the word out there. If you know anybody that could benefit from this, please tell them about the channel. Just tell them to come on over and subscribe. It'd really help me out. But we're real estate brokers. We operate all over the Greater Toronto area. But what we want to emphasize for people is to be smart. Invest your money in smart places where you're not going to get ruined. Also, buy some gold and silver in your life. You should always have 10%, 15%, really depends. Avman, how fast can you get a home on the market if you pull the trigger? That's a very good question. How fast can you get it on the market? In a luxury category today, home prices in the GTA are losing $3,000 a day on average. So if a luxury home is losing $3,000 a day, and it has been for 4 or 5 months, you have to now figure out, I want it to go on the market as soon as possible. Now, we can have it on the market within 1 day. You can, 1 day. But if you want to do it the really good way, the best way, and the way that I would suggest, we need to go a little bit like Blitzkrieg, where you have to have your home all cleaned up, all done up. So we send in somebody, or you tell me if it's all painted up, everything is done. Then I got to send a photographer there. Then I send a videographer there to 3D map your home. Then we have to go have a website built for you. Then after we have the website built, we start building carousel ads and different targeted ads on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all over. What we're seeing with the properties that we list is 77% of the traffic all comes from our ads. The whole realtor.ca is bringing in nobody these days. So it really, you need to have a lot of people otherwise. You need to target it outside. So if you were going to do it the right way, it would take about a week, something like that. A week, 8 days, for everything to start running. Algorithms on Facebook and on YouTube, they generally take 3 days to get some feedback. So for you to actually see the results, how they're performing, we're 10 days on the outside. But your property would be listed around 7 or 8 days, something like that, if you do it the right way. But most agents, I got to tell you, 99.5% of the agents out there, they'll all have it listed the next day. They just have to fill out a couple forms. You sign it and you put it up on realtor.ca, and they'll come and take pictures with their phone. Phones are pretty good right now. So you can get it that way. But I always say you got to go hard, because there's a very easy matrix, right? The more eyes on your property, the more visits, the more offers, the higher the price. Now we're in a very, very tough market. So let's go back till March. Properties would be selling in 3 days with 30 offers. Today, it may take you 60, 90 days to sell, and you may only have 2 offers over that time. Drone is different than Matterport. Everybody has different categories. So we have different photographers. Some can only do pictures. Some do pictures and video. Some do pictures, video, and drone. Some also do Matterport. They're all different. I've never met one guy who does them all. So generally, we have to have more than one person go. Yeah. Generally, we have to have several. In order to fly a drone, you have to have a license to do it, and not a lot of people have done it. And so if they do have a drone license, they typically only want to do drones and nothing else. So it's kind of messy that way. Why the house prices started moving up in the last couple of days, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense why they have. Now, it did have a little bump, the same as the stock market, because everybody was waiting for this thing called the Fed pivot. So the Fed pivot is, don't worry, the whole government is going to lower the rates before the stock market drops too much, before the home market drops too much. So home prices were going up a little bit, and stock market was going up a little bit. Then Jackson Hole happened. I made 3 videos on YouTube about Jackson Hole, what happened in Wyoming, where all the central bankers got together for their holiday. And he came out with that 9-minute speech. And in that speech, he completely decimated everybody's hopes that the Fed is going back on their rates. And when that happened, everything started softening again. So if it is going up specifically in Cambridge temporarily, I don't trust it. I think it's probably by now still going down. Avman, you said that you have a property on your street at 9.8. It's been on the market for a year or so now. Oh my God, that is brutal. Brutal. A year. Unbelievable. So listen, like I was saying, it really depends on the value of your property, but we're seeing home prices bang, 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 like this go down. So the higher the price, the more the percentage of drop. So you have to be quite aggressive with your pricing. So Avman, when you put a home on the market, there is now today 1.3 million views on realtor.ca per day. 1.3 million. This is bananas. Who has 1.3 million? 1.3 million. Unbelievable. But then when we go and do our traffic ads, myself, me, little old me, I'm nobody. I'm running ads and sometimes hitting 300,000, 500,000, a million people in a week from all the ads that I run. So listen, if you are having this many people looking at your property and nothing is happening, we got to adjust the price. So it's a lot of work. I know it's a pain in the butt. We got to do paperwork, but what we do is every 10 days, we got to be lowering the price. The market will always be speaking to you. And the question is are we listening or not? Because if you put up a home at 9.8 and it didn't sell in a month, well, it's probably not going to sell in month 2 or month 3. It's always because the price is too high. We have sold properties literally covered in cockroaches, termites eating through the whole building, buildings that had to be torn down. We've done all kinds of properties in the past, and there's always a price for it. Somebody's always willing to pay something. It's just that the price is off. So if they're letting it sit there for a year at 9.8, I wouldn't even take that deal. And I wouldn't do it, because on a lot of our properties, especially on a luxury property, I may spend $20,000, $30,000 on advertising for the property. But if I have to put it at a price that I know there is no way in hell it will ever sell, I just know that I kissed $30,000 down the drain and I can never make it back. Like, that's where meeting with somebody and having a good relationship with them is so important, right? Because you have to be at a realistic number, because we've went into many luxury properties before in Forest Hill and Rosedale, and they're like, we just want to put it up on the market and see what happens. And I'm like, okay, but at this price, because we've gone in and said, oh, it's only worth 5 million. And they say, well, I think it's worth 8. Okay. So they'll want way more. If that's the way it is, we can only put it on realtor.ca. We wouldn't invest $30,000 into it, right? Because it just doesn't make sense anymore. So there's a lot to it, man. Real estate is really kind of complicated, but at the end of the day, I always say we just let the market speak to us. And so we're just making sure that we're paying attention to what the market says. Tony, you said couple of weeks. Oh yeah, a couple of weeks. So Tony, in Cambridge, housing prices are going to be like everywhere else. They're going to be heading down right now with these markets. Jerry Live, some life, not everything is about money, my friend. Okay, cool. Life is not about money, but money makes it a lot easier, man. I don't know what to tell you. I love your idea. Listen, I had cancer for 5 years. I had leukemia 2 times. Twice I had leukemia. I also, right today, as I'm sitting here in front of you, I'm on immunosuppressants because my intestines don't recognize my own body, and my body's attacking my intestines. So I have to be on massive immunosuppressants for it. Second disease, I have IgA nephropathy in my kidneys. So my body doesn't recognize my kidneys, and my kidneys are shutting down. 2 sets of organs shutting down as they sit in front of you. And so I understand what disease is like, and I understand it, but I don't want to leave this world without doing everything that I want to do. I actually like helping people. I love helping people. It's great. And so I also want to leave a better life for my wife. You know, when I go, I don't have any kids. I'm not blessed with kids, but I have like 15, 16 nieces and nephews. So I'm trying to live my best life. I understand it's not about money, but we want to have options for kids. That's what I want for everybody. Tony, is the FOMO pushing people to jump in and buy one? That is why the prices have increased $40,000 to $50,000 on average. FOMO has been the entire story of the market for the past 14 years. Crazy town. The FOMO is insane. This is why you have to act as if you don't live there. What do I mean by that? Because foreigners that don't live in the area always fall in love with the deal, and they're looking at the future, what could happen here. Whereas locals are always blinded by what has happened recently. That is the problem. So whenever we look at what has happened recently, like any local market does, they're going to be at a disadvantage. And that's where FOMO takes over. So you need to fall in love with the deal. You never fall in love with the house, ever. Hey, Avman, you said, like, who's Jerry? I have no idea who Jerry is. That's what I was wondering. Who's Jerry? You've been seeing in the news about home prices dropping 20 to 35% in 2023. This is a lot of like news. It's clickbait. Listen, don't pay attention to everything that's out there. Okay. They're saying that it will drop 25% from the peak in February. Well, a lot of places in Toronto have lost 35, 40, 50% already. You lost 50% already. So listen, guys, this is bananas, okay? Bananas that the prices have dropped so much already. And then the guy says, oh, in my infinite wisdom, 25% it's going to drop. Listen, that's from the peak down to the trough. But I can tell you, his number is not crazy, but it all depends where. You can't just take a big paintbrush and go, all real estate is going to drop this much, because the tiny homes and the small little condos don't go up. Let me tell you a story about Florida. Do you guys remember 2008, 9, 10, 11. Do you remember that? Were you going down to the United States at that time? Because my parents were going down to Florida all the time every winter because it was too cold. Great for them. But when we started going to Florida in 2006 or something like that, 5 apartments were $1,000 a month for a 2-bedroom. As soon as the recession happened, those same units for rent went from $1,000 to $1,700. Why? Why did the rent go up? Because everybody was losing their homes and had to downgrade into small units and small homes. But the price of the home in St. Petersburg and Tampa dropped from 400,000. I know it sounds low, right? 400,000 at the time, and they were selling them for 40,000. They were dropping 90% of their value. So I could move in and buy a house for $40,000 and rent it out for $1,700 a month. Are you kidding me? Incredible. So buy the smallest units you can. They're not going to lose as much. Tommy, you have a friend who thinks his house hasn't gone down in price. He's delusional. Totally, bro. Tommy, yeah, a lot of people are like ostriches. They like to stick their head in the sand and just not see what's happening around them. And guess what? All the more power to them. You ever watch The Matrix? The Matrix, the guy goes, I want you to reinsert me into the Matrix because ignorance is bliss. And you know what? You're right. Ignorance is bliss. But I can't help it. I already know. So listen, whether an ostrich sticks his head in the sand and somebody doesn't want to look at the value of their home or their portfolio going down, sticks their head in the sand, listen, the hyena is still going to eat your ass. That's just how it is. Avman 9.688 now. Yeah. She dropped it a decimal point. Yeah, guess he dropped it a little bit. It's been on and off for a long time. Listen, man, you go on realtor.ca or whatever platform you use. There's a lot of homes that have been on there for 400 days, 500 days, 600 days. Complete waste. Complete waste. If anybody even liked your home and has been on the market for more than 20, 30 days, even if somebody likes your home, they're not going to go look at it because they're like, what the hell do you think is wrong with this one? Everyone's probably already seen it already. It's probably garbage inside for whatever reason. And then they get afraid of it because your house becomes stigmatized that nobody wants to go look at it. Very, very tough, man. Romeo in Brampton. So the average home in Brampton has gone down like 30 to 40%. Really depends. We just sold one that was a townhouse. A townhouse. We're not even talking about a detached. We just did a townhouse in Brampton that went from 1.3 million down to 850. 1.3 million down to 850. That's a massive loss. And that was like 6 weeks ago. So, imagine where it is today. Can you imagine that home prices could be down 50% in Brampton? So I'm very curious which property hasn't gone down in Brampton. Brampton's got hit really bad. Oh, yeah, Avman. So the counter resets on Zolo if the price changes. You're right. It does. Now, there's two things. What you can do is if you change the price on the official site, like if you go talk to a realtor or you want to call me on realtor.ca, like our back end is the MLS part, we can actually see all of the history of the property. So if they change the price, the days on market continues. So sometimes what they do as a trick is they will remove it from the market one day and put it back on the market the next day. And once they put it back on the market, now what? All of a sudden, he's got this beautiful new 1 day on market, this fresh thing, and they'll change the lead picture. I've done that in the past. I know. But the people who are looking for luxury properties, they generally know there's not a lot of them to go around, right? It's not like they're looking for a $500,000 condo and there's thousands of them. Tommy said, wonder why. Wake up, sellers. Not getting 2021 prices anymore. Keep dreaming. You're right. Prices are not going to go there. But listen, we've had a 14-year bull run, 14 years of rocket profits, and it's down only to what it was last August. So you still could lock in 13 years of profits. Amazing. Take your profits, put it into something else, man. Bovaird and Chinguacousy. Yeah, I used to live right around there. Romeo, I used to live in Brampton at Bovaird and the 427, and I had some friends that were over by Bovaird and Chinguacousy. I know the area well. Those areas are not untouched. Absolutely not. They're dreaming. Sorry to tell you, man. It is what it is, right? It's a crazy world that we live in, you guys. Hey, you guys have had some really good questions tonight, man. I'm pushing the envelope. I'm going a bit longer because you guys have some really good questions. Listen, man, we're just here to help people. That's all we really want, right? Tommy, also everyone has to remember that when and if they go up, they will rise the same way they fall. Yep, it's true. And so it's not the same everywhere. But if you go look at some of the properties, so we have a whole basket of properties. I believe in having properties in downtown areas, in suburbs, and outside of your area. But in some of our areas that we're buying, the home prices are going up. Right. So you have to be buying the right types of properties. But it's crazy, you guys. Listen, I'm from a big family. I have 6 kids in my family. I have spent my life trying to teach my other family members, and they are just, nope, nope, nope. They don't want to listen to me, I guess, because they remember me as a kid or something. And they could retire tomorrow if they wanted to, but they're not interested in doing that. So no problem, they just keep working their 9 to 5 then. Tommy, increments, not all at once is what I mean. Yeah. Avman, do high property taxes scare off buyers in your experience? Yes. Constantly, all the time. Yes. High property taxes are always very scary, and cities are running out of money. So as cities are running out of money, they want more property taxes. So sometimes MPAC is very, very late to come around and reassess your property. So as they are looking at different properties, they're going to try to raise it as much as they can. So in some provinces, it's very different. Some states, they're going to redo it as soon as the property sells at a new price. They're going to hit it right away with the new price hike. So it does scare them off. Yes, you are right. Tony, you said next week the Bank of Canada is expecting a 0.75%. My thoughts on housing prices. This is absolutely 1,000%, I believe, going to be a 0.75. That's what I think. Listen, guys, we're fortunate. Canada is not the world leader. I know that we think so when we live here, but the US runs the planet and runs the economy. That's just the way it is. They are the reserve currency. In fact, I could see the US from my house at night. So we're that close. And they already announced where they were like 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago. And every time the US announces something, we have a 92% chance that Canada will do the same thing. So 6 weeks later, right now comes the next meeting, right? And Canada most likely is going to copy what the United States does. We almost always do. So, of course, someone's saying it's 0.75 or a 1%. Like, what do you think between those two? But if it's a 7%, what is the rule? 1% interest rate equals a 10% loss in the price of your home. That's the math. So if we get a 0.75% interest rate hike, you will lose 7.5% of the value of your home. If the interest rate goes up 1.25%, that means you will lose 12.5% off of the value of your home right away. It's not slow either, because interest rates from the banks adjust immediately, and that's how much less borrowing power that you will have immediately. Avman, what do I consider high taxes? It really depends on the property. Listen, most of the cities all will be charging based on a percentage of your property. They may say that your taxes are going to be 1.5% of assessed value or whatever. They're going to do it on a percentage of the value of your home. So the taxes are pretty much the same for everybody. It's just kind of adjusted based on the value of the home. Romeo, you said The families are often unable to see the forest through the trees. Absolutely. And listen, guys, honestly, I really tell you, ignorance is bliss. Honestly, it is. And every single time that I read like another book, and I try and read a book a week, every time I read a book, I'm like, all my answers will be solved. I'll know everything now. And every time I read a book, I'm like, man, I know nothing. And then I have to go read another 5 books just to figure that out. And every time I open those 5 Pandora's boxes, I got to go read more. The funny thing in life is the more you learn, the less you realize you know. And so I'm always after this learning, and ignorance is bliss. I'm always trying to figure out, and everybody and their dog is always calling me trying to figure things out as well, right? So it's tough, but I I am the way I am. I guess I'm just born that way, right? I have a cousin who like I don't know if he knows any country besides Canada and the United States. He's literally got blinders on. But you know what? His life is beautiful. He's always just walk outside, look, a butterfly, you know. So I'm jealous sometimes, honestly. Um Getting the feeling that maintenance fees are going to skyrocket with this high interest rate and rent. Yeah, well, maintenance fees on condos are not really going up because of high interest rates. They're going up because the cost of services are going up. All services are getting hit by inflation too. So window cleaners are going up, salaries for the staff in the front are going up, your pool cleaners are going up. So as everything goes up, they have to increase the cost on the condos, on the maintenance fees. Avman, you said you think you were assessed incorrectly. House is worth 4 to 5 million, 16K sound right? No pool. Whoa. I would have to look into that, Avman. Um, Homes in the country are nowhere near that. Okay, well, there is a mechanism for you to challenge your tax assessment. You can do that. It is your right to do that. It takes some work on your behalf, though. You have to go get other similar homes that are the same size as you, same square footage as you, and try to bring it to the assessor and say, you've made an error based on all of these properties. I've seen a lot of people win it in the past, but it does take a long time. They're very backlogged. But you know what? If it was way out of whack, I would be fighting it for sure. 16K. You know what? It doesn't sound out of whack to me, to be honest. But I don't want to. I'm not sure. I'd have to go figure it out. I'd have to do a lot of research on it. If there's no homes in your area that have that, then I would be starting the challenge process. Romeo, if a company wants to buy a house for its land to build, say, a condo on it, how much above market? They're generally buying it for market. Are you? But the market is what the market is, just what people are willing to buy. But most builders aren't buying a lot of land right now. If a company wants to buy a house for its land to build, say, a condo on it, how much above market? So I've seen it all over the place. It really doesn't. I couldn't give a number to that. So where my office is, one of my offices on River, kind of like River and King Street East, there is a whole row of old homes that are there that a builder wanted to put a whole tower on, but he's going to pay you a lot more if he was going to put a 4-story building or an 80-story building. He has more profit coming from 80-story. He might pay you more. So it's really hard to tell on that. Avman, yeah, you don't have a large lot. 80 by 200 is not a gigantic lot. So I would have to go look at it. And for a percentage, I don't have it. Listen, it changes all over the place. It changes all over the place. So I wouldn't be able to guess on it. I would go do research, and it would take quite a bit of research. Yeah, it is like I mean, like you have a beautiful home. Obviously, it's a luxury lot. 80 is a large lot, but I've seen properties that have 200-foot frontage and maybe like 4, 5, 600 feet deep. Some massive lots. Like you shouldn't be paying a gigantic tax bill if your property is only 80. You know what I mean? Tommy, you hate to say it, but mortgages are a big scam. Think about it. We have no choice but to be homeowners. Yeah, you got to borrow money from somewhere, but you don't necessarily have to go through a bank, right? There's other platforms that you can get money through. You can do seller financing on properties. You can do private financing as well, but usually that are a higher rate. Avman, yeah, man, I hate taxes too. I hate taxes. So there is a book. Oh boy, where did I put it? Uh, I guess I lost it. Read that book by Tom Wheelwright, Tax Free Wealth. I can't stand taxes. Drives me crazy. So everything I do in my companies is how do I pay 0% tax legally? That's what I try to do. So you have to go talk to a tax strategist, pain in the ass, right? Nobody ever wants to do it because he might charge you $600-800 an hour for you to sit down with him. So you got to have all your questions in a row. You got to have your meetings with your accountants beforehand, and those can cost you $300-400 an hour. In order to go talk to a tax strategist, that means $600-800 an hour. But once they get together and start working together to pay 0% taxes at the end of the year, is a good thing, right? So it costs you money to save money, like everything else. But yeah, taxes, that would drive me bananas. $16K down the drain. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Anyway, man, this is a good Saturday night. I didn't think that you guys would have as many questions as you have. So this is wonderful. Anyway, did I help you guys? Did I help you at all? I hope I did. Please remember to follow me on YouTube if you like this type of stuff. Really appreciate it. Trying to get to 1,000. But you know what? When I looked online, you need 4,000 hours of watch time in order to be able to have access to the creator console or something like that to see how I'm doing. I've only had 2,000 hours of watch time. So yeah, go watch more of my videos, man. It would help me out. Tommy, yeah, the government wants cashless, of course. Remember, any country that taxes you based on income is going to hate all Bitcoin and Ethereum, and they're going to want to have a central bank digital currency. It's not like rocket science, right? So Canada is most likely going to have a central bank digital currency. So is the United States. They're going to track everything that you do. But you can have your money like every time. Remember, all countries of the world are fighting each other. All countries are battling it out, and they want to have a lead. So the moment that United States and Canada go, F Bitcoin and Ethereum, we're going to ban it. As soon as they do that, there's going to be a whole whack of countries out there that put up a flag that say, we accept Bitcoiners here. And you're going to see massive migration of people that want to head out to not be trampled on. It's going to happen. I mean, I've been doing this since 2013 in Bitcoin and Ethereum and all that stuff. Like, it's very, very clear to me the way that they're going, right? Now, Bitcoin and Ethereum, but it's not the coin itself, it's the software. But Ethereum is going to get rid of all real estate agents. It'll get rid of lawyers. It'll get rid of a lot of banks. It'll get rid of everything. All of the middlemen that you need. Think of it. What the money has to leave from a bank, go to the lawyer, go from this lawyer to the other lawyer, go from that lawyer to the new bank before the title moves over. They all are regulated. They all have trust accounts. But as soon as all of the blockchain happens, all of those jobs go away. Think of the efficiency. Unbelievable. So it is a really cool system, but they track everything they do. They're going to know every time you buy a donut. And most people don't want that, right? So once central bank digital currencies are going to come out, which I really do believe that they will, there's now 90 countries or something like that looking into central bank digital currencies. There's only 200 in the world. So you tell me half the planet is looking at central bank digital currencies? Yeah, they're going to come. So we just got to be able to do business the right way. So, who cheats on their taxes? I know they're going after tax cheats. They want more money. The United States just hired like 80,000 more IRS people, and now they're going to carry guns. Who cheats on their taxes? The poor and middle class cheat on their taxes. Because once you get enough financial education and you pay for your tax strategists and you pay for all these guys, they're going to bring your income down to zero. Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, Donald Trump, they pay $0 and they all do it through real estate. And that's why I love real estate. Those rich guys know how to play the game so that they pay zero. I'm the nerd. I'm the dude that has sat down and read 1,000 pages of tax code looking for write-offs. I'm that guy. But not everyone is willing to do that, right? So we can get by with paying 0% in taxes legally. Why would you ever cheat on your taxes? Never cheat on your taxes. Never lie on your taxes. Babs, you said very informative. Thanks very much. Thanks for coming by. Please go to my YouTube channel and follow me. Same name. Watch some videos. I'd appreciate it. Rogers Center will no longer accept cash. It's starting. Blaming COVID. Yeah, makes me want. All through COVID, they're saying money is the enemy. Don't use cash. There's COVID all over your money. So, I know that they never clean money. It doesn't go through a cleaner ever. It's probably got a lot of funky things on it. But I do think they're going to take away cash. Why would the government like it when people are transacting all the time and not paying taxes on that money? They want to track everything. It doesn't take like a genius, right? It just makes sense. They want to make more taxes, right? Now, the thing is if we were in the 40s and 50s and 60s, the government was taking all the tax money, and what were they doing? They were building highways, building dams, infrastructure, and they were putting everyone through university for free. Okay, so you know what? If you're paying money and you're seeing your country get better, I understand that. But where we are right now, where all money that the government makes is just used to buy votes. That's it. So, why do we even have an election anymore? Historically, in Canada and the United States, always, whoever has the most money for all of their advertising and broadcasting, they win the election. So, let's stop the whole charade. Let's not even bother going to line up and see who has vote our favorite. Let's just go out there and say, okay, you, how much money do you have? You, how much money do you have? And just vote the rich guy in because that's the way it's been working since then, right? And then they use all their money to buy more votes and stay in power. So the world is all cockamamie now. It's all messed up. They say if everyone was honest on their taxes, deficit would be paid real fast. What a load of bollocks. So listen, every time we've ever looked at it, we always see that the number, when they estimate that there's more money in the economy underground than there is above ground. So only like half the money is getting taxed. Yeah, probably. I don't know. But I know a lot of people are working for cash all the time. I don't know. But will the deficit be paid off really fast? No, man. Listen, the way that they're running, they just throw around words, 50 billion here, 100 billion here, trillion here and there, just throwing it around and printing so much money. There is no end to this insatiable kind of beast, no matter how much money they can make. The whole system's got to kind of change. Avman, you said you mentioned in an interview a bunch of realtors on a YouTube video. Who would you send to our house? Is it me first? I mentioned to interview a bunch of realtors on a YouTube video. Yeah. Who would you send to your house? Avman, well, is it you first? Avman, okay, I know what you mean. So I always recommend that if you are going to sell your house, you got to interview a bunch of agents and work with the agent who knows what he's talking about the most, right? You got to have a good relationship with him. Ask him a lot of questions. How are you going to market my property? How many clients are you working with right now? How do you advertise my property? Ask the specifics, like the nuts and bolts, right? Because you guys got to work together as a good team. So I would say interview as many as you can. How many? I mean, I wouldn't interview like 30 or something like that, but start interviewing different people and ask them specific questions. You're asking who would I send to your house? So are you asking if it would be me? I think if it would be me, we could just meet one-on-one on a Zoom call first. And then if you like it, then we can move on from there. And then I can see about having your house filmed and everything. But let's just have a conversation first, Yeah. Okay. So if you're asking me, I'm saying just let's have a Zoom call first. and have a chat about your house. See what work that we can do on it, and see if we get past that stage. Maybe I don't know. Maybe we're not the perfect match. It's kind of like dating, really. It's do you get a good vibe off of that guy, right? So maybe Avman, if you want to reach me, just send me a message here with your email. Or Avman, if you have a pen, so you could send me a message here if you want. You can go to my YouTube video and send me a message there. I need your email though. Or you could send me a message at my contact tab at my website, that is roughteamrealty.com. Or roughteamrealty.com. My business email where my assistants are. We answer all the emails that come into there. If you do have a pen or pencil around you, it's myurbanquarters@gmail.com. myurbanquarters@gmail.com. Tommy, you said all the business owners I know that take cash are hiding some form of amounts. Yeah. Listen, man, I can't even tell you the number of companies that do that. I mean, it's so prevalent, it's everywhere. Every time I go to a place and just buy a sub or something, they never close the cash drawer, right? They're just taking the cash and giving you change, but they're never ringing it up. Everyone is doing stuff like that. Every restaurant you go to, they're always taking the cash out of the tills. I mean, anywhere. I mean, this is why the government wants to go that way. They're going to use that as an excuse to go down that way as well. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I mean, cash is going to be told that it's the devil, it's the worst. You got to stay away from it, and we know it's going to be dangerous, et cetera, et cetera. They're going to say that. So, if they're going to say that, what can you do? The thing is we can't change inflation. We can't change what they're going to do. We have to figure out through financial education on how to out earn inflation. That's the game. That's the entire game. Any word of what the interest rate is supposed to happen this month? Yeah, absolutely. It's happening next week. The interest rate is happening on September 7th, and it's now 6 weeks after the United States had given their rate hike. Every time that the United States has a rate hike, we have a 92% chance of us having a hike rate. So I think that we have a 92% chance of the rate. So for me, I would be betting on it. I don't think it's going to be like a 1.25 or something like that, but I bet you pretty easily it's going to be a 0.75. And if it goes up 0.75, then that means that all the prices of every home are going to drop 0.75%, 7.5%. The rule is 1% of interest rate drops your home price by 10%. So remember, it's not because we've had a lot of interest rate hikes, right? So it's not, well, if the interest rate goes up 10% today, I lose 100% of my home. It doesn't work that way, right? So you can lose 10% and then you have 90. But then if it drops one more percent, you don't lose 10% of this. You lose 10% of the remainder of the 90,000 or 90%. So you'd only lose 9% that time. You wouldn't be losing 10. It's just 10% of the remainder. So we expect fully home prices are going to be dropping, but that is just on the interest rate front. The whole percentage basis is based on a bank lending you money based on your total debt servicing ratio of being about 1/3 of your income. They estimate that 1/3 of your income is going to be taxes, 1/3 for a house, and 1/3 for car and food and everything else. That's how they do it. But they don't account in their math anywhere for the cost of cars, the cost of fuel, the cost of food, and everything else to skyrocket. So that's what we're seeing more and more. As before in 2019, we were always getting an 80% mortgage on all commercial loans and everything else. But now what we're seeing is governments and the banks are reducing how much they'll lend you, meaning you'll only have a 60% mortgage or a 70% mortgage because now they're seeing the cost of everything else skyrocketing. They have to adjust their math. Tommy, you said, it's tough though. It's tough, but try to pay extra on your mortgage, folks. You'll be thankful at the end. So you got to have to figure out your family plan with your wife, with your kids, with your entire family, you know. For some people, it does work out really well that they pay off their mortgage. In my case, I don't pay off my mortgages. I will always refi to the max that I can. I will also hopefully die when my mortgages are still at 80%. That is my choice. But I have a different life, right? I got 4 companies that are being run. I have we accumulate properties in our holding companies. We do it for other people as well. We signed a deal with 2 other companies where we will be purchasing their properties and sourcing the properties, getting their financing and managing their properties for them. Like, we want a lot of debt because we make money through debt. So you have to really understand where you're going to be heading in your life. Like, what is my trajectory? Where are you going to go? But really, if you're not willing to open companies and manage them and all blah, 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 all that other stuff, if you're not willing to do all that, then yes, pay off your mortgage. But for me, I'm getting paid to borrow. If real inflation is sitting at like 15%, stated inflation is only 8, and my mortgage rate is at 6, you take away your 15% inflation minus your 6, I'm getting paid 11% to borrow. So as long as the government is paying me money to borrow, I'm going to borrow as much as I can. I borrow every dollar I can. If the government would lend me $10 million tomorrow, I would take it. The whole 10 million. But that's the difference, right? Is because we run companies and we know how to do it, right? If you were just going to borrow the money for consumption, like to buy a new car and new clothes, or I don't know, whatever, then it's a waste. But if you're buying to invest, that's a different story. But that is the trick. That is all of the knowledge. I mean, it's taken me over 20 years of educating myself, paying for courses, sitting in conference halls, like paying $800 an hour to sit down with people and learn about it, reading hundreds of books. So it's tough. But you know, I have been trying to, for 2 years, to condense everything I've learned in 20 years and stick it into one course. The course is probably going to be between 20 and 30 hours. Of course, I started filming it, but it takes forever to edit everything. We're going to be having that course available, and I'm really hoping to finish it by the end of the year. Don't know if I can, but I'll try. John, I don't know if we're going to have a lot more rate hikes in 2023. I don't think it's going to happen. The trigger rates are going to be happening, but you know, just based on the information we have today, we probably will have 1 or 2 left this year, and then I think that's going to be it. I don't think it's going to go much longer. You know, that's just what I think. I think after the news that we're going to be getting in September, October is going to be really bad. And then when we get our final Q4 numbers reported in January and February, they're going to be abysmal numbers. So when they're abysmal numbers, then we're going to see the stock market really crater. And I think they're going to pause everything. But there's a lot to happen between then and now. I'm just going based on the information that we have today. I don't think there's a lot more. But, you know, like so there's only bad news on the horizon. I just did a video this week because there was this entire page that said all these realtor association and all of these mortgage associations all say, don't worry, it's a great time to buy. Of course they do. But every economist and every researcher later in the article all says very bad things coming in the future. Of course, the guys who want to sell you something are going to be telling you, don't worry, everything's fine. You should buy today. And that's a good sniff test, okay? If you have any realtor that's out there that's like, when's the best time to buy? Today. Today is the best time to buy. Then you meet him a month later. He's like, today is the best time to buy. And you meet him a month after that. Today's the best time to buy. Listen, he's got that commission on his eyeballs, right? Like he's just wanting you to buy. He's not actually telling you the truth. But honestly, most agents right now, we're sitting at like 80% of agents have been active less than 36 months in the market. They don't know. They don't know any better. They just don't know. So the majority of agents, remember, it's like a 92 or 90% failure rate within 3 years. Agents quit. So you have very few agents who have been in the market a long time. John, would you hold on buying a home now with higher rates in the future? Would you hold on buying a home now? Okay, so John, sorry, I don't understand your question. If you can just write it again for me, I'd appreciate it. My advice to you obviously depends where you live. I don't know where you live. If you lived, let's say, in a C-class town in a landlord-friendly jurisdiction, then I would probably say you could buy now and you'd probably be safe. So what is a place that's like that? What happens if you bought in a suburb of Memphis, Tennessee? Oh, John, you're in Barrie. Yeah, if you're in Barrie, do not buy now. Do not buy now, man. Complete disaster. Do not buy in Barrie right now. Keep renting or whatever you're doing. Keep renting till next year. Don't even bother. Prices are going to drop a lot more. We operate all over the greater Toronto region, right? We operate from Oshawa down to Niagara Falls and up to Barrie. But we go outside of that all over North America as consultants and advisors for people on their projects. We know Barrie very well. We obviously buy in Barrie all the time for our clients who want to live there. But we have no investors buying in Barrie for the past like 6-7 years. Nobody buys in Barrie. Generally speaking, you'll have a city and then in concentric circles outward, most expensive, a little cheaper, a little cheaper, a little cheaper, a little cheaper, a little cheaper. The one exception to that rule is Barrie. And Barrie's prices have gone to the moon with no real justification for it. So that's why we don't buy there as investment. We buy there only to live. Mefford is the same. All those little towns up there, the prices are too high. I would not be investing right now. The rates are going to continue higher and the market has not capitulated yet. You're going to see a time when the sellers are begging to sell their homes. Already, just in the past few months, you've seen it go from 3 days on market to 60 or 90 days on market. You're going to see it when home prices are going to be 200 days on market, 300 days on market. Already, like we were just talking today to a client, they had their entire division had 0 homes for market all winter, 0. And now there's like 17 out of the 80 homes are up for sale. What do? No one's buying them. It's tough. It's very, very tough, man. The market is in tough shape. Ooh, man, we've been going at this for a long time. It's 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday. You guys are wearing me out. Okay, so I want to leave you guys all in great shape. This is going to be kind of our last call, last beer of the night. Ask me anything. I'll see if I can help you, but I got to get running, man. My poor wife is working. Hey, John. Yeah, you're welcome. Hey, listen, I operate all over the greater Toronto area. I operate in your area. So give me a call whenever you need anything. We're always here. Ruff Team Realty. And you can also please follow me on YouTube if you can, if you appreciate this type of stuff. Wait until next year. Don't buy now. If you're renting, great. Keep renting. I hope you're renting. Honestly, it's great. Any other questions, you guys? Thank you for all the likes. I appreciate it. I just always encourage you, please follow me on my YouTube channel. Avman, thanks very much for following me and subscribing. It means a lot to me. Just trying to help people out there. I want people to have a better life than the one I had. I'm so angry at the world for not teaching me stuff. I'm mad that schools don't help. Here's the dust jacket to this book. Please go read this book, you guys. This book is amazing. Principles for Dealing with the Changing World Order. Why Nations Succeed and Fail. It's my #1 book of the year. Actually, I would say it's tied. I dropped my other book. This is the second book that I think you should read. End of the World is just the beginning. And this one is the Ray Dalio book on the changing world order. 2 of the best books of the year. Absolutely love them. But you know what? I'm a nerd, so maybe you might not like it. If you want the most bang for your bucky, read The Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright. Amazing, amazing stuff. No more questions, you guys. Sometimes it takes a couple seconds for all those questions to come by. If there's none, it's all right. I wish you the very best. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Keep killing it. I try and come on every night between somewhere in the 7 to 8 p.m. range. It really depends how many contracts that we're dealing with at the time. One day this week, we just had so many deals going on that I couldn't come on. So if that happens, it happens. But please leave me a message if you need anything. I'll try and help you out in any way I can. I'll let you know how all the courses are coming, but it's probably not going to be ready before the end of the year. Really hard to condense 20 years into one course, right? All right, guys. I wish you the very best. I love you. Thanks. Keep crushing it. Stay safe. The world is bananas these days. Stay safe out there. Keep doing well and protect yourself and protect your loved ones. All the best. Stay healthy. Have a good night, guys.